history fans, and welcome to the Historical Baking Show. I have a feeling I've spoken about cakes and cupcakes before, but I have this cake tin that's a giant cupcake. So let's talk about the history of cupcakes. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more, and let's go. I'll put the recipe in the description.
So, the earliest cupcake as we would know it comes from 1796 with Amelia Simmons' recipe for a light cake to bake in small cups in her American cookery book. But the term cupcake isn't really documented until 1828 in Eliza Leslie's Receipts cookbook. In the 19th century, there's actually two different uses for the word cupcake, changing the meaning on what it was baked in or what it was measured with. So, cupcake refers to both cakes baked in pottery cups before muffin tins were available, which is basically the same as cupcakes now. Cupcakes are any cakes about the size of a teacup. And the other was cakes whose ingredients were measured by volume, so using a cup rather than weight. But recipes using that method aren't commonly baked in cups, so instead they're in tins as layers. This baking with cups became more common in the later 19th century and became known as 1, 2, 3, 4 cakes or quarter cakes because they just have 4 ingredients going up in that order. 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour and 4 eggs. These cakes were similar to pound cakes in size terms, but they're less rich and less expensive. And that's when we have the division of these two popular cakes into cupcakes and pound cakes. Or being split, as I said, into the volume measured versus weighted measure. Can you hear the ice cream truck? I literally poked a stick in as well and it was clean. I must have poked it like right down the edge, not in the middle. Oh. So I've scooped out all the uncooked bit. It's not actually that much and I think I'm going to manage to rebuild it. Crisis. Still crisis, but not as crisis. And it tastes like really good chocolate cake, so. This is currently what we're working with, so let's see what happens. Back to the voiceover. It wasn't until the 1920s that these cakes were decorated with icing or frosting, and the first snack cake was in 1919, the Hostess cupcake. It's said that the 2000s are to thank for the cupcake's rise in dessert popularity after Sex and the City featured Magnolia Bakery, and then in 2005, the first ever purely cupcake shop opened, and it was called Sprinkles Cupcakes. So that's a little history of cupcakes, but the history of red velvet cakes, however, starts in around the turn of the 20th century with Devil's Food Cake. Adam's extract made food flavourings, but also red food colouring, which meant that a lot of households had some form of red velvet in the Great Depression, and during World War II, American bakers used boiled beet juice to enhance their cake's colour and to retain moisture. And the recipe for that cake came from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City, so some called it the Waldorf Astoria cake, despite the fact that it's usually considered a southern recipe, sometimes called a soul food in the South. There is a recipe from 1911 in Rufus Estes' cookbook for a sweet velvet cake, so it's possible the type of cake does go back that far, but adding red colour is a more recent addition. That was absolutely disastrous.